My 5 biggest lessons from 2022. Hi everyone, Dan back here from the Geek Physique. Before we get into things, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel and ring the bell. So point 1, do what you love and it will still be work. Oftentimes you'll hear people say, if you do what you love, you'll never have to work a day for the rest of your life. And I don't actually agree with this. And I got something from Modern Wisdom, Chris Williamson. Big shout out to him. It's a great podcast. Lots of gems of wisdom there. And he said something, or I think he maybe sourced it from somewhere else, which was, if you do what you love, the tools you use will feel a lot lighter in your hands. And I think this is a lot more accurate, because when you're growing a business, if it's just you in the beginning, which it will be, you're going to have to do all the little bits of grunt work, okay? And there's no shame in that. And obviously at some stage you might want to employ someone to do the things you don't want to do and move a level up, okay? And that's just kind of the nature of business. But in the beginning you're going to have to do that. And it's going to be stuff that you don't enjoy, right? Like maybe it's prospecting. You have to reach out to people, or cold calling. It's like old school cold calling, right? You just have to blast through it, whether you feel like it or not. And this kind of is the same with the gym, right? Like people say, well, the gym is easier for people who love doing it. And yes, that is true to a certain extent, but that still doesn't get away from the point that there are still, I would say, all the people that love going to the gym, there's still days they don't feel like going and they still go. It's like the performer, right? Someone who sings. Maybe they have a slightly sore throat, but it's still okay enough to sing. They're not their best. They don't feel like performing, but they still perform. It's like parents who need to pick up their kids from school. They don't always feel like doing it. Trust me, I've spoken to enough dads and even mums at this point who, when I say, no one else is listening, you're not a bad person if you just, speak the truth. And they say, I don't feel like doing it, but I love them with all my heart, so I will do it whether I feel like it or not. And this is the thing to remember here is, if it's worth it, it's gonna feel a lot more satisfying once you've done it. So it's about having a deeper why for doing the things that you are doing. So when it comes to getting in shape, you want to really define your why. Like for me, it was deeper than I just wanted to look and feel better. It was, what did that mean for me as a man, right? And further to that, as I went on that journey, I gained a sense of dedication and consistency, which then carried out into other areas of my life. So now, if I don't go to the gym, the impact of that downstream is I'm not going to be the man I want to be in all areas of my life. There's a lot more tied to it then. So when I don't feel like going, like today, I'm doing a lighter deload workout. Deload workouts don't really do anything for your goals other than help you recover. I've just come back from Christmas, etc., etc. I didn't really feel like doing it, but I thought, I've got to do this. I did a little deload workout at home. I have some adjustable dumbbells. I got it done, right? Because I know it's tied to my deeper why. Again, with your kids, I know this is a really obvious one, but you love your kids, right? At least I would hope you do, right? So then you're going to pick them up from school whether you feel like it or not. And with your business, if it's just about making money, maybe that's enough for some people, and there's no shame in that. I will not hate on anyone that is doing their business just for money. But if you have a deeper reason for doing it, like helping people or improving an industry or shaking things up or doing something different that no one's ever done or whatever, or improving on something that people have been doing for a long time, if you have a deeper reason for doing it, once you've done the thing that you don't feel like doing day to day, it's going to feel satisfying, right? It's going to feel like you're moving step by step towards something bigger than yourself. Okay. Number 2, everyone has the time. I'm probably going to get some hate for this in the comments, but the biggest objection I get from guys who want to get in shape, or even guys, and this goes for friends, family, people who have been close to me, who want to do something, they say that they don't have the time. Yeah, I know, I'd love to do it. I'd love to go to the gym, but I just don't have the time. After working with doctors, dads, business owners, shift workers, day and night, I have realized that there's one thing that all great men have in common, which is they're all busy. I'm going to say that one more time. The one thing that all great men have in common is we're all busy, right? So there's never going to be the right time to do anything. And in my experience, yes, of course, this is not to say people don't struggle with time. And for those people, it's really, really key to have the right time management. But for a lot of us, myself included, there's plenty of things we're doing day to day, week to week, which are just not moving us forward towards our goals. And it's about analyzing your habits, your bad habits, and understanding how much time is this really taking out of my day, out of my week? And what if I just used a fraction of that, started small, started moving towards my goals, and then started taking more and more time from my bad habits towards my good habits? Again, building on a small foundation. Don't go 0 to hero and then quit because it's too much to handle. But making small changes in the right direction, using your time effectively, I am confident the majority, if not all people out there could do what they set their mind to. Yes, talent comes into play. Yes, it does. But oftentimes it's doing the little things day to day, week to week, over and over and over again, whether you feel like it or not, like I said in point number 1, but it's making the time and making it a priority. So when you're saying to yourself, I don't have the time, maybe you need to ask yourself, is it really a priority for you? And the last point I'll make on this is health is wealth, especially with your fitness and health. If it's not a priority for you right now, then you're probably going to have to pay for it more later in time and money. So prioritize it now, invest in yourself, and it will pay you dividends in years to come. Number 3, if it was really important to you and you wanted to do it, you would do it. Again, probably going to get some hate for this, but building on my last point, I often hear from guys, from even friends or family, people I speak to in general, that say they want to do certain things all the time, right? I'll hear it maybe every 6 to 12 months. So let's say I don't see someone very often. I've seen them, they're like, yeah, I still really want to do this. And I've been wondering this entire year, and actually the last few years, is it just people making conversation? Is it people trying to impress me or other people around them? Or are they really speaking the truth, and are they really struggling, right? And what you've got to remember is tomorrow is promised to no one. So why are you waiting? What are you waiting for? Like I said in the previous points, there's never going to be the right time to do anything. You're never going to know everything you need to know to take your first step. So you might as well take the first step now, fail forward, learn on the job, whether that be with your fitness goals, whether that would be with your actual job, a new career, a business, whatever it is. And the lessons you gain from actually taking action are going to be so much more than what you gain from analyzing up front. Yes, you need to stop, analyze, and see if what you're doing works. But I would argue take action first, then stop to analyze, make some adjustments, and then keep taking action and repeat that process. And like I said, if you really want to do it, do something about it. Number 4, delayed gratification is the only way to win. We are all a slave to something. Okay, and what I mean by that is one of the most common addictions that no one really talks about or doesn't talk enough about, I would say, is phone addiction, right? We all use our phones too much, myself included. So what you've got to ask yourself is, if I'm not moving towards my goals, what is holding me back? And often it's going to be the little things you do day to day, taking up your time. Think about it, guys. All these points I'm making build on each other, right? So you do have the time, most probably. It's just how you're spending it. A lot of the people I speak to watch the news and get their daily dose of fear. Is it really serving you? I would argue it's not. Maybe you want to check the weather and keep up to date with current events, but oftentimes I find a lot of people that do that and comment on current events or whine and moan about current events don't really have their own life in order and are not doing all the things they could be doing. No one's perfect. I'm not perfect, but they're really not doing anything they could be doing to improve their own lives. And instead they look externally to complain about things and to sometimes virtue signal and to post about things and to feel like they matter, when actually if they instead of getting that instant gratification in the moment and going, I'm going to post about this thing that I don't really care as much about it as I say I do, because if I did, I'd actually do something about it rather than posting about it. Or instead of just like eating this thing in this moment to make me feel better, maybe I don't eat this thing and maybe I actually go to the gym and think about my eating habits, right? We're all at certain times using instant gratification, right? And it's all built on our dopamine system. You've probably heard something about this, dopamine detoxes, things like that in the self-improvement space. But to simplify it down, whenever we get a reward, it increases our dopamine, right? Which makes us feel good. And actually, if we expect something and we fall short, our dopamine goes below baseline, which doesn't make us feel so good and decreases our mood. Okay, all these things are normal, by the way, our dopamine circuit. So if you feel bad for not achieving something, it doesn't mean you have a deeper issue there or some problem. We all go through that, right? The point here is a lot of us, again, myself included, I'm not perfect, we're doing things in the moment to make ourselves feel good, and we haven't really earned it, right? We haven't really done anything to get that release of dopamine. And when people say to do a dopamine detox, what they're saying is you're basically frying that circuit and you want to reset it, right? And so what some people say to do is to, quit video games, quit watching porn or things like that, or watching Netflix. But what I would say is you could consider doing those things or reducing those things, going cold turkey if you want. But really the biggest tip I give to the guys that we work with on their fitness is do the heavy lifting first, right? So work out in the morning if you can, or as early as you can, or as early as possible in the day. What that does is it gets it out of the way, it sets you up for the day. You've already done one of the hardest parts of your day first. And if you've put yourself through a genuinely hard workout, if other stress comes to you during the day, I find mentally it's like, I just push myself through, heavy squats for reps. That is going to physically and mentally tax you. If someone's giving me a problem in my business or something like that, I think I can handle that, right? So not only does it give you a reward for actually doing something hard, but also it sets you up for the other harder parts of your day. Again, in your work, if you're able to do this, even if you work for someone else in an office job, I would argue to do your hardest and most important tasks first. Make your to-do list like the must-dos at the top. Get those out of the way first, and then you can spend the other half of the day doing maybe less important things. Or if you've got everything you need to do done, then reward yourself, right? Maybe some people, again, this is not for everyone, some people don't eat until they've done their hard tasks, right? Some people who do intermittent fasting, I'm not advocating for this, but it's just an example of where they don't get any dips in energy from maybe eating any big meals. And then once they've done everything hard, they then eat a big meal. Okay, that's just one example. Going to the gym in the morning is another example. Doing your hard work first and then playing video games later is another example. You probably get the idea here, but you want to make delayed gratification a big part of your life. And then when you do go scrolling, when you do watch that funny cat video, when you do play a video game, or when you do maybe something a bit more positive, like spend time with your friends, your family, with your loved ones, it's going to feel all the more satisfying. Number 5, habits and goals. These are both equally as important. It's great to have goals, especially SMART goals, specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound, because as you move forward towards those goals, you're going to boost positive emotion, get those dopamine releases day to day. You're going to gain momentum, right? Like just as you have a negative spiral in your life, like you might lose your job, your girlfriend might leave you, and everything might be happening, and then one bad thing leads to another, and it goes down like this rather than a slow decline. The opposite happens when things start to go well in your life, right? So maybe, again, do the reverse. You start going to the gym, you gain more discipline, you start sending out more job applications, you get a better job, you then gain a bit more status, you then start going out, you gain more confidence, you start talking to more girls, maybe you get a girlfriend, and maybe within a year, you've got into better shape, you've got a better job, and now you've got a girlfriend when the year before you didn't have any of those things, okay? It can happen that quickly, guys. because you gain momentum, right? But remember, we are what we do, right? I'll say that one more time. We are what we do. So of course you want to set smart goals, stuff that you can measure, some stuff that's actually realistic for you where you are today, stuff that you can actually reach. But remember, you also want to understand who you want to be as a person, right? So you want to frame things on the man you want to become, right? And the Atomic Habits talks a lot about this, that yes, goals are great and you should have them, but that's one part of it. The other part of it that happens, then they kind of synchronize, is I want to be the guy that does go to the gym 3 times a week. If you make your habits about that, like, and that's the type of guy you want to be, and it all starts with, again, the thoughts you have in your mind, the words that you use, the things that you tell people. Okay, it genuinely does start from those small things, and you start to practice those habits. It's going to help you get your goals, because if you want to increase your squat, your deadlift, whatever it is, if you're doing all your 3 or 4, whatever it is, gym workouts you need to do a week, if you're the type of guy that does those things, whether you feel like it or not, then you're going to get your goals no matter what, right? And if you have goals, you release positive emotion, it's going to help you keep doing your habits. So you can see how they kind of intertwine. And oftentimes people will get too fixated on goals or too fixated on habits. And I think you need both to really stand a chance of being successful with your fitness, with a business, with your career, whatever it is. Because again, you are what you do, but it's great to have milestones, tick off those milestones, set some new ones, because it's in the pursuit of something meaningful where I find I am the most fulfilled. I won't say happy per se, because happiness comes and goes. But for me, if I'm moving towards something meaningful, whether life is going good or bad outside of that, I know I've got an anchor, right? And this is what Jordan Peterson talks about a lot. Do not pursue what is expedient, pursue what is meaningful. And happiness is, people talk a lot about happiness. Like people say, happiness is not, you won't be happy until you realize happiness is exactly where you are. I don't fully agree with that. I find that instead of pursuing happiness altogether, pursue meaning. Because when you pursue meaning, it gives you something deeper than happiness, right? That's what I find personally for me is the thing that keeps me going, let's say, right? Like it's like for the gym, now I help coach guys. Me going to the gym has a lot more meaning, right? And again, it's like you don't have to be a coach, right? It could be with your family. If you are in better shape, you can turn up better for your family, right? That has a lot more meaning to it. So whether you're happy or not, you'll turn up to the gym, and that will keep you going more long term. That's not to say happiness isn't important, but the thing that all great men have in common, apart from all being busy, is they do what they need to do, whether they feel like it or not. And that's my last, I guess, bonus lesson I'm going to finish on. Just going to recap the 5 lessons from 2022. And actually, I'm going to build on this in another video that will probably come out in about a week or two's time, which is going to be how you can win in 2023. But let me recap my biggest lessons from 2022. So number 1 was do what you love, but it will still be work. Number 2 is everyone has the time. Number 3 is if you really wanted it, you would do something about it. Number 4, delayed gratification is the only way to win. And number 5 is habits and goals are equally as important. And the bonus, number 6, is all great men do what they need to do, whether they feel like it or not. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope the video was helpful. I hope you had a great 2022 and you're now setting out your goals for 2023, which I'll be, again, like I said just now, I'll be outlining how you can win in 2023 in the next week or two. There's probably going to be a video here or here, so click one of those to keep watching. Like I said at the start, like the video, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell, and I'll see you in the next one.